What? My taxes are up again? And this property value, really? Hey, if this sounds like you, I've got a few simple steps on how you can appeal your real estate taxes. So in today's video, we're going to analyze, does it make sense to file a tax appeal? And I've broken this down into a few simple steps. Step one, we want to know what the property appraiser's value of your property is on January 1, 2025. Step two, we want to know what your value is on January 1, 2025. Step three, how does that compare to the taxable value on your trim notice? Step four, we want to compare these values and come up with a dollar figure to decide, does it make sense for me to appeal my taxes? All right, let's get into it. Step one, what is the Lee County Property Appraiser's market value of your home? So to do that, we need to go to the Lee County Property Appraiser website, or it'll be on the trim notice mailed to you. And if you go to this website, I'm going to walk you through on how to find it. So our first thing we're going to do is we're trying to figure out what is the market value that Lee County Property Appraiser says our property is worth. Easiest way to do this is to go online. We're going to go to the Lee County Property site, which is Lee, L-E-E-P-A. There it is, Lee County Property Appraiser. Once we're on their main page, this is the main page, home page, we are going to put in our address that we're searching for. So we just type in your address right here. I've got my address right here. Then we're going to hit search. Brings up this page. And on the right-hand side, you will see this says links. We want to go to the 2025 trim. This will bring up the trim notice that was mailed to you. Trim notice has a lot of good information on it for you, but I'm not going to go into a lot of detail right now about the trim notice. What I do want you to notice is this number right here, column 3, proposed taxes. So this is the proposed taxes, and that's basically the value or the taxable value times the millage rate. So 4,664. Then the main number I really want you to focus on is this 225 value. So this shows the value of your property that they're saying it was worth on January 1, 2025. Also shows you last year's value. So it went down. Most people should see a downward market value given the trend that's been going on in the real estate market. Okay, so now we got that number. That's the number we've been looking for. As you scroll lower, it will show the different taxing authorities. And again, like I said, we'll get into all that later. Step two, what we need to do is figure out what's your value on January 1, 2025. So you could ask a real estate appraiser to do that for you. You could ask a real estate broker such as myself or your agent, or you could do it on your own. But we need to know really rough what the value is. So I've included right here a link to a website that's going to give you 3 values of your house. And we're just looking for a rough number. That's all, just something real simple so we can make a real quick calculation. So it's going to take you to this website right here. I'm going to put in the address that we've been using, Ashbury Circle. It's going to ask you you want to view the home value. So we're going to click here. It's going to ask for some just basic information. What's your email, name, phone number. Okay, so it pulled up 3 computer values, one from Aquarium, CoreLogic, and Atom. And what we're trying to do is you really want the value of January 1, so we're just going to kind of approximate that. Right there are 3 values. January 2025. And so that's what we're going to kind of pick a middle of those, and we'll go with that. Step 3, now that we know your value of the property, we want to compare that to what we call the taxable value. The taxable value is on your trim, and let's take a look at that in more detail. Okay, so what you guys are looking at right here on the screen, this is my trim notice online. What we want to do is find our taxable value. That's the value that the millage rates can be taxed on. That's the value that if we protest taxes, I've got to get my property value under that number, okay? If I can't get under that number, I shouldn't do a tax appeal. So, page 2, it starts off with market value. The market value of this home is roughly $503,000. Then there's what we call assessed value. The assessed value can be substantially lower because your values get capped over time with certain things like Save Our Home benefit and exemptions like homestead. In this case, the value is dramatically less. So when I look down here, taxable value, I see $286,998. That's the value that I'm getting taxed on. That would be the property value I would have to beat in a tax appeal. So the odds of me going from 500 to 286 is pretty dramatic and pretty unlikely. In this case, I'd say you don't have a case and don't file a tax appeal. All right, step 4, now that we have all our values, we want to basically figure out the difference. And once we know the difference, we can come up with a dollar value. And once we know a dollar value, we can decide, is it worth our time to file a petition and move forward. So I'm gonna go to the Lee County Property Appraiser again. And I'm gonna go to the main site. I'm gonna put in, it's important that you put in the address that you're talking about. So in this case, I'm putting in Ashbury Circle again. It'll bring up the property database search site for that house. So here it is. And over here, we have all our links. And the link we're gonna go to this time is called Tax Estimator. So we click on that link, hit OK. And we are using this calculator not for the purposes that they have this designed. So they're gonna say, what's the estimated sales price? We're not putting that, we're just putting the difference in the Lee County Property Appraiser and the Lee County, or our value, the market value that we came up with. So for simplicity, we're gonna say $100,000. So we put 100 in there. And this calculator actually will take 10% off that value. So I'm actually gonna go 110,000. And then I'm gonna hit calculate. So what it does though is it brings up our millage rate, which is great. A lot of people get confused about millage rates and values. So here's $100,000 times our millage rate. Means if we won our tax appeal or got the property appraiser to agree to our value, $100,000 less, you should save $1,530. Okay, so there you go. Now you have a number attached to the possible outcome. So you have some idea of what you could gain. Now you got to figure out, is it worth my time or is it worth me hiring somebody? All right, so now you've decided, hey, I want to file my tax appeal. What I've done is over here, this is a link to the Lee County Clerk's office. Before you file your online petition, I would encourage you to read or go through this how-to video. That gives you a lot of good information on how to do a tax appeal. But after watching that video, you would go right here, file an online petition. You click that, brings up this window. It's going to say file a new petition. We're going to click this box. Okay, it says I agree to continue. And this is the formal form that we're going to fill out. Now I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, but I'm just going to go through it quick. You would put in the owner's name of the property, the formal name. And in this case, we're putting in mine, Theodore William Stout. So that pulls up this address, the one we've been talking about. It's a residential unit. Petitioner type, you either can be a taxpayer, that's you yourself or the owner, or you can be an agent. Now, and if you hire an agent like a broker like myself, or you hire a property, some type of appraiser or a lawyer, they would be the agent, and usually the agent would fill out this form for you. So in this case, we're assuming you don't have an agent and you're the taxpayer and you're going to fill it out yourself. So this, you fill in all this information here. This is basically your contact information, how they can get in touch with you. Then we would check the box real property value. And in most cases, we're trying to decrease our value so we can decrease our taxes. This form works for multiple things. So we're not, if you want to deal with portability, we're not talking about that right now, but this is where you put in the portability. This section right here, taxpayer, you would definitely fill that out. That's saying that you're going to represent yourself in this hearing. This part here, professional, you don't fill this out. This would only be filled out if you have a tax advocate. Part 5 is giving somebody else authorization to represent you. And then finally, we come to the last section where you say, once you get to a hearing, you're going to say how much time do you need for a hearing. It's usually 30 minutes to an hour max is what I would say. So here on the calendar, we want to select all the dates that we're out of town or we can't attend a hearing, because the clerk of courts is going to schedule a hearing date and they want to know what dates you are not available. It asks if you're going to attend or not attend. You don't necessarily have to attend. I would strongly encourage you to attend. But if you're not going to attend, you check this box. Then you would sign here and basically submit your form, pay your $30, and now your tax appeal has been filed. So in summary, the 4 steps we just reviewed. Step 1, we know the property appraiser's value of your house. 2, know your value of the house. 3, know the taxable value of the house. 4, compare them. Does this make sense to file? And most important, you've got to file before September 12th. That's your deadline this year. I'm going to have some more videos coming out on how to do tax appeals. Click like and subscribe below, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.